Happy
So,
to see everybody.
yeah, it is. So, of course, we want to make sure that we start out in a very unified way and um, sync our energies together by doing 3 ohms together. Okay. So, really, ohm from your heart, right? Pour your heart into it. Oh. 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 Doing 3 ohms every morning before you start your day is a really good thing to do. Just kind of clears everything out. So you don't want to start your day full of everything from yesterday. We want to have some clarity so we can have some insight, right? So we get a fresh start. So I encourage you to practice ohming. It's a wonderful thing. When you do, just remember that it's traditionally it's best done in threes. So if you want to do 9 of them, that's fine. But it doesn't mean that if you do 7, some bad thing is going to happen. But it just recommends that you do 3. It's supposed to be for the 3 worlds that we have. So does anybody remember what our word has been? Kindness, right? So have you been kinder than you normally have been? Have you been working on that? There's a lot of saboteurs that we could have used for kindness, but this time what came up was the word disservice. So I wanted to remind you that kindness is not only about being kind to others, it's also about being kind to yourself, because you are others to others, right? So you want to treat yourself with the same dignity that you do with other people because you're other people to them. So it's very, very important that we learn to not feel like kindness is just something that we do for others. It's something that moves through us, which means we get to experience it, and then it moves out towards others. So how do we practice kindness with ourselves? The same way that you practice it with others, really. The way that you practice it with others is that you show up. You show up and you're there for them and you're listening and you see them and you want to be of help for them. You want to be available for them. Kindness, that's what you do. You show up. Now, with yourself, how do you show up for yourself? Let's say you wake up and you've had a very tossing and turning kind of night. It's been very difficult. You couldn't sleep, too many thoughts running through your mind. It was just one of those times when you felt yourself waking up going, oh, then you wake up and now you just are like, oh, I don't want anyone to talk to me right now. All this is going on. And so what do? If you saw somebody else in that space, what would you say to them? What would you do? How would you respond? Would you be like, oh, could you get away from me? Take that mood and go down the street? Would you do that? Maybe. Or would you be more like, are you all right? There's something I can do to help you with this? Was it because of the sleep last night? You didn't get enough sleep? Is that what's going on? You see, just saying that can make somebody go, oh, you saw that? You saw that connection between I didn't sleep well and so I don't feel well, that I'm not really angry. I'm just cranky because I don't feel well. You saw that? You see, that's being kind. That's giving service to another person to show that you understand there's a connection that's going on there. And they're just not trying to do this to irritate you. They just didn't go, oh, look, she's in the room. Right. That's not what was happening. This person was already troubled. They didn't have the proper sleep. So it's important for us to go, okay, I wake up this way and I'm expecting people to be kind to me, but here I am already here. Now, am I being kind to me? No. Well, how can I? Look at what's happened to me. So we start playing into our own feeling of victimization in that moment. And the more we do that, then we don't help ourselves because then we feel entitled to somebody coming in and serving us. making us feel better. So our first thought isn't, how can I come to my rescue? What can I do for myself? How can I serve myself? Because if you can serve yourself in that moment of agitation that you woke up with, if you can serve yourself in that way to bring yourself to peace, everybody that's going to be in your path that day will benefit. If you don't, you're not going to be totally with them. You're just going to be like, oh yeah, I had a really rough time last night. You know, there's just all this stuff going on. What were you saying? It's going to be all about me today. With me. You know, I'm not going to be able to be present with other people, and I'm certainly going to want you to feel for me. So I'm not helping myself, which means I can't actually help you either. So I'm trying to show it to you in a really practical way, because it's very important, because we do know that it's best to be kind to others when you're around them. But the best way to be more kind than you have been before is to be kind to yourself first. Because everywhere you go, here comes your moods. Everywhere you go, here comes your stress. Everywhere you go, here comes your fears and your attitudes, right? So you're taking everything with you everywhere you go. So the thing in the morning is to have a practice, to be kind to yourself, to have a practice in the morning, to start the day off in a way that you're checking in with yourself. You know, because there's some days when a person can wake up cranky. You know, there's days when a person can just wake up and they're like, I'm over it. I'm over people today. Right? I don't know anybody who doesn't have a day like that. So you can make it go the whole day, all the way into your night before you even try to go to sleep. Or you can check it out first thing in the morning and go, oh my God, look at me. I'm over everyone. They're going to be over me when I step into the room, I can tell you. You know, because you're not taking a sweetness with you. You know, you're taking a feeling of impatience. And remember, because we've worked on the virtue of patience, so we know that when we're feeling impatient, what it does is it leads us to frustration, which leads us to anger. Frustration is very, very mild anger. It's very, very mild anger. You know, when you're, you see, there's a similar thing. My face wants to scrunch up like anger, but it's still in its mild form. So we don't call it anger, we call it frustration. So let's say I wake up and I'm frustrated because I didn't sleep well and things didn't go so well for me yesterday and people don't seem to really understand me and blah, blah, blah. So I'm feeling agitated, I'm feeling frustrated. Now, if I just let that be like that, it is going to grow, it's going to develop. And I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to drive like that. And then when I get to the office, I'm going to talk to people with this in my heart, because I don't care about them, because they don't care about me. So you see, I'm being of disservice to myself by not treating myself. And then as I go through my day, I'm giving that disservice to everybody that I meet. So we're not taught as children, help yourself in the morning to start the day in a good way. And it's not because there's something wrong or bad with all the parents in the world. That's not true at all. There's beautiful parents, but they weren't taught either. But the thing is it doesn't matter if you're 5 years old or you're 55 years old. It's never too late to learn to be there for yourself. You know, to learn to calm yourself. So what is the quickest way to calm yourself? Well, first of all, breathe. Hello. It's the thing that is the most available. And not like, you know. Because remember, the way that you breathe can only match the way that you're thinking. There can be no difference. If I'm breathing long and slow, I can't do this. If I'm breathing erratically, I can't do this. Your breath will always match your thoughts. Always. There's no exceptions. So what we're doing is we're consciously taking charge of our thoughts by taking charge of breathing. The quickest way to calm your mind down is to realize that you have control over your breath. You're not really feeling in control about all these thoughts running through your head, just because they're going too fast. They have too much momentum. So you just can't grab it. It's just frustrating. You just feel it, and it's just one after the other. And here comes another one. And then you're backing it up with some other thought and memory that you had all of a sudden, right? So you don't go there. Don't go there, because you're going to go there and go, well, let me figure this out and see what's really causing me this anger. Oh, yeah. Look for some more nastiness to think about. That ought to do it. You burn one hand and you put the other one up to get burned too. I don't think that's going to work. But if you observe it and you're like, yes, I'm in this space and I have things to do today. And okay. Okay. Give in. Give in. Give in. Give to yourself. Give in. Go inside. Let yourself breathe long and slow so that you can start to open up and let the frazzledness settle in. That's really, really important. You see, I had to show it to you so that you could see how we can do this. Doesn't mean it's easy. And you know what will happen? You'll say to yourself, oh, didn't she say to breathe? And then when you're like this, didn't she say to breathe? Yeah, right. Right? But you'll thank me for not telling you, oh yeah, figure it out. That'll calm you down. You'll just be spinning and we'll have to peel you off the walls at that point, So what you want to do is recognize that your first response to yourself is going to be, yeah, right. After you do that, stay there with yourself and just tell yourself, this is really important. I gotta get a hold of myself. I gotta come back to center. I'm not going to have any strength to get through the day, because when you're frazzled, all of your energy is peeling off of you. You're going to be exhausted at the end of the day, and maybe you haven't done anything. But if you walk around in that state of being agitated, it will wear you out. You won't have energy by the end of the day. You'll just be, ugh. And it will make you feel like that's a confirmation that life is really bad. See? So you have to be really conscious in the morning to set your rhythm. That's important. That's really important. That's giving service to yourself so that you can be with others and kindness can move through you. The interesting thing that I really want to impart to you about this is, in this practice, when you're feeling frazzled like that, but you actually do come to your rescue, when you go out into your day that day, you'll remember that you did that for yourself, because you'll still feel the feeling of wanting to kind of explode, or the feeling of frazzledness. I know I should do it with this one. So what I'm trying to tell you is that when you feel that it's still in you, it'll make you very empathetic. It will, because you woke up like this, and you know that you helped yourself. So what happens is that you've started a healing process that starts to move through your body. So now when you're out in the world, you're going to feel that from another person. You're going to feel that, oh, they feel like I did this morning. Oh, you're going to feel it because you recognize it. Intuitively, you'll feel it. You'll be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to be soft here. I think I'll just send them peace, peace, peace. But you will. It'll make you have more empathy. It's an interesting thing. The more you intuitively come to your own rescue, it opens you up intuitively, because you recognize your pain in another person. And you know that they didn't have that skill of coming to their rescue. So it makes it so you don't feel so judgmental, you know? So like if you see them and they're ranting and raving, instead of going, oh, that, now you're like, oh, they don't know how to help themselves. So the best thing for me to do is not push it with them. You know, if you see that somebody's just on the verge of an explosion, don't let it come to you and invite you in and push their button to make that happen. Instead, slow down, recognize that they can't help themselves in that moment, and that you have the wisdom to see that they can't help themselves in that moment. So you walk away. You find a way to walk away in a peaceful way. People feel that. They'll feel that you feel that from them. They'll know that you're not judging them. You'll know that you're giving them space. They may tell you that they know later on, or they may not. But the thing is that the more that we can intuitively help ourselves, the better off everybody is. You see, we speak intuition all the time. We're always sensing things. It's just that we're not used to helping ourselves and then sensing that other people have the same situation going on. You know, everybody's stressed, everybody has fear, everybody has all kinds of different things that are going on, but we don't always notice it in the other person. We just judge them as mean, or they're just this, or they're just that, when really they may be having a day that like you've had before. So I say this because we want to have this feeling of kindness by helping yourself intuitively understand that you are responsible for the state of your inner life. You are. It's not everybody else's fault that you feel so agitated. Yes, I'm sure their words and their situations have contributed it, but I'm sure that yours have contributed to theirs too. But you feeling better is not their responsibility. They need to go home and take care of themselves and improve their own moods, their own mind, their own well-being, and so do you. And when you see that as that's your responsibility, then you start to like not blame as much. You don't find yourself criticizing that everybody made you feel this way, because you realize you're not so helpless that you can't help yourself. So practicing meditation, practicing breathing consciously, practicing affirmations, mantras, chanting, whatever suits you. There isn't one way. It's what suits your personality. But it's important to learn to come to your own rescue and to understand that if you just keep waiting for somebody to get you, well, they might get you all right, but not the way you want to be gotten, so to speak. You know, so you got to get you first, and you have to help yourself and not be resentful that you have to help yourself. Because that's another thing that gets in the way. People get very resentful. Why do I have to help myself? I help everybody else. Shouldn't they be helping me? I don't know what they should be doing. But what I do know is if you recognize that there isn't people around you helping you, don't discount you. You know you better than anybody that's around you. And yet you're waiting for people who don't know you as much as you know you to come and save you. Why? It doesn't determine your value if nobody comes to save you. It doesn't mean that you're suddenly worthless. No. It's like when people think that if you make a mistake, you're no longer trustworthy. It means you made a mistake. You're not untrustworthy. So what I'm saying to you is it's important for you to come to your own rescue without any resentment. Besides, if somebody else comes to help you, they may not know exactly how to do it. They might be touching you on this shoulder, and that's going to send you, why are you touching my shoulder? You know I don't like you to touch my shoulder. And you're like, but I'm just trying to help. Well, you're not helping. Well, okay, fine. Right? Who hasn't had an experience like that? So what we want to do is avoid all of these interesting little blow-ups that happen between individuals who really care about one another. And take care of yourself. You don't ask somebody else to brush your teeth. You know that's your responsibility. And you do it. You're not like, yeah, how come you're not brushing mine? But we think that people should make us happy. They may not even know how to do it for themselves. So again, kindness starts at home. And the more you practice kindness with yourself, the more you're going to learn how to practice kindness for others, which is really learning just to give space, to be quiet, to really listen to what the other person is saying, to see them, to see that, oh, I see you. You had 2 hours sleep, didn't you? You're cranky. Okay, I'm just going to think peaceful thoughts for you, but I'm going to stay a little bit of a distance because I know this is contagious. And if I catch it, I don't know if I can help both of you, both of us. Right? You see, it's so sensible. Intuition is so reasonable. It's so practical. But we make it into all this really big mystical thing, which it is that. But intuition can help you on every level. We just don't use the word very much. It's just not this word. I mean, I do, and you guys do, but generally speaking out in the world, you don't hear people talking about the word intuition. We don't teach it in the school. We teach people to be logical. This is very logical. This is reasonable. But we don't say, and here's a class on intuition. I don't know what that is. I have no idea why there's this whole big part of us that we pretend doesn't exist. I don't know. Or we make it into some really crazy thing that's going on out there, but it's not. It's this part of us that senses. We sense 24/7. We're human beings. We're very sensitive, which is why we can get aggravated so easily. We're very sensitive beings. We're very sensitive. We got to help ourselves. You wouldn't think we're so sensitive because we've made such a loud world. Like right now, I can hear the birds, outside. I don't know if you can hear them here, but the birds are so nice and sweet. Some crows, they just have a different tone. But the sound of cars, the sound of just the air. Think of all the words that are in the air right now. We get so used to it that we don't really hear the air is full of all these voices. We've taught ourselves not to be able to hear that. It's there. You do realize that we could teach ourselves to feel a lot of different sounds that we don't hear now. You can hear it, but you don't know you hear it because the sounds that you make inside of your mind, all of the things that you're thinking makes it so you can't hear a lot of the sound that's out here. The noisier your mind is, the more these vibrations are moving through your body. And don't think it doesn't hurt your body, because it does. If you were at a place where everything was really loud and you were irritated because how loud it was, it would make you feel like this. And it would make you want to get away from it, right? Okay, doesn't it make sense to tune into your body and hear your mind like that? Because you're going to want to calm it down. Once you discover how loud it is, you're going to be like, holy cow, how did that happen? Mm-hmm. So when people first start to sit and to learn to meditate, they always tell me when the ones that give it up, which is 98% of us, most of the time, we're going to give meditation up at some point and come back to it. But we all give it up at some point because it's just, and I'm quoting, so hard because my mind is so fast. Well, welcome to planet Earth as a human being. Everybody's mind moves too fast, too fast. So that doesn't mean that we can't slow it down. If you have a car that's going too fast, there's got to be a way to slow it down. You have a brake. So you can slow your mind down by learning to use your brake. And our brake is breathing, rhythmically breathing. learning to be aware of our breath throughout the day, knowing that a change in our breath tells us there's a change in the line of thought, because you can't breathe any other way than you think. So the more that you consciously practice breathing long and slow throughout the day, you are going to experience more peace. And you know that's what you want. You know that's what you want. You want to feel peace. That's why when you see another person agitated, you're like, you don't want to have what they're having, because you already know that. You want peace. And you think you can't have peace because somebody around you doesn't have it. That's not true either. It's not their fault. You have to find your own peace. Nobody can gift it to you. Here's peace and you get to stay in it for the rest of your life. No. You have to create it for yourself. This is kindness. If you don't take care of yourself in this way, if all you do is brush your teeth and take a shower, that's not enough. How do you take care of your mind? You're taking care of your body. You're telling yourself, I'm eating better. I'm taking some supplements. I'm working on just relaxing so I can sleep better. All of those things are beautiful. But you also say, yeah, and I'm really working on calming my mind. When is the last time you just said that in casual conversation? Yeah, I'm really working on my health. And of course, I'm working on my mind and calming my mind. It hasn't hit mainstream conversation. I don't know why. It's almost like we're embarrassed or something. I really don't understand that. But if we could talk more about, yes, this morning I had to do my practice and I really had to take some extra time to calm my mind this morning. You see, we can't have just an everyday conversation about it. And why not? Why not? So what I'm saying to you is make that part of your day. You know, you brush your teeth, you comb your hair, you sit and you breathe and you practice silence. Do it for 5 minutes. That's all. Do it for 5 minutes. And then if you're leaving your house, then leave your house, say something out loud to bless your house, to bless your journey. Say it out loud, because when it's out loud, it moves through you out into your atmosphere. So wherever you go, you take it with you. You know, you can, every morning when I leave my home, as I leave my home, I put my hand on the front door and I always, give thanks for my home. And then I say, kindly remove the obstacles to peace, peace, peace for my home and for my journey today. I make a little symbol that I'm not going to share with you, but I do make a little symbol on my door. And then after I leave there, then I get into my car and I just sit for just a few seconds. And then I pick my phone up to get my directions and see how much traffic is out there. And then I drive. And while I'm driving, I regularly monitor myself so that I can feel if I'm getting agitated, because drivers around us have their own moods, their own things that are going on. And do you think the cars protect us from feeling them or from them feeling you? No, we're spreading these things to each other, even on the freeway. I know it sounds preposterous, but what I'm saying is not. This is vibrational. It moves through vehicles. It moves through walls. Just because somebody's in the other room feeling grumpy doesn't mean you can't catch it. So then as I'm driving, I monitor myself so that I don't get excited, so that I don't pick it up, so that I can stay in my own. And it's a process, because the more I do that, the more I realize how subtle it is, how much I've missed it, how many vibrations that I do miss. So then by the time I get to my space at work, my work requires centeredness. Now, if I get there and I'm agitated, this is not good. How the heck am I going to sit with you and be with you? It won't work. So by the time I get to work, then I sit in my car for another few moments and breathe. If there's anything left in me that's been agitated from my drive, I consciously work at just letting it move through me. So then when I walk up the stairs, I'm walking up the stairs, feeling better, calmer with each step I'm taking, so that when I get into my office, then I open my bag and I have a ritual of how I pull everything out and set the table up for you. Because I want to serve you. I want to be there for you. So in order to be there for you, I've had to have served and been there for myself first, to prepare to have enough bounty, so to speak, of goodness within me to share with you, to do this for you, to give service for you. So by giving it to you, of course, I'm receiving. When I actually consciously work on presenting my best self to you, that means I receive it as much as you receive it. So I'm sharing this with you so you can see how easily it is to learn to listen to your intuition, to monitor yourself before you get into such a high agitated state that you can't come back right away. You see how easily it is everywhere to get so agitated that people pick up guns and express themselves with that. Oh my goodness, we should all be alarmed by this. We have to take better care of ourselves as individuals. We have to take care of ourselves and produce more peace so that it flows out from us to those who have no consciousness whatsoever of what the word peace means. It's not going to be in their vocabulary. It's not going to be in their mind. It's not going to be in their breath. We could just ignore them like we do, or we can practice peace and put that peace out into the world wherever we are. And you might think, oh, what a nice thing Grandma's saying here. Let's put peace out into the world. Yeah, kumbaya. No, I'm serious. I'm serious about putting peace into the world. Why wouldn't you want to do that? When I just was explaining all the things about how easy it is to be so agitated, and that agitation and frustration morph into anger. And anger has the ability to morph into violence. Fear has an ability to morph into anger and to morph into violence. So the more that we help ourselves to not be so afraid, to not be so, that's fear. And it's fear morphing into frustration, which will morph into anger. So the more that we catch it in the very beginning, then we offer ourselves a better place to live, which means everywhere you go, you offer a better place for other people to stand with you. You go to Target and you've been practicing peace. Everybody in Target that day gets a little peace with them. If you don't, and you go in there and you're just like, yeah, where's this at? Where's this? Everybody gets a little piece of that to take home with them too. So you get it too, because they're bringing their stuff with them. They're bringing their peace. They're bringing their grumpiness. And you walk through the Target store, you're going to take that home with you too. We're always doing this with one another. We're all in one big soup. So the best way to protect yourself is to be how you want others to be. You want them to see you. You want them to listen to you. And you have you all day long. Do you see you? Do you listen to you? Or do you wait for someone to come and save you? It's a lot to ask somebody to do when they have to save themselves also. So it doesn't take a whole lot of energy. It just takes consciousness. It just takes that ability in each moment to be at your best, to practice being at your best, which means to be at peace in each moment. Practicing being at your best means practicing peace in each moment. Let me tell you, if you don't practice, you know what will happen. And even with the practice, of course, you're still going to get agitated. You're still going to have moods. You're still going, I have moods. I have agitation. Don't you think that I'm trying to tell you that I don't? Because that would be a dang lie. I have to practice every day. I am an incredibly emotional person. Am I not? Nodding heads. and a little, I couldn't possibly do what I do for a living if I weren't a real emotional person. It means I'm very, very sensitive to the changes of emotional vibrations around me. And it can make me change on a dime. So I'm very aware, because otherwise I'd be blaming everybody all day long. Oh yeah, this thing you see in me, it's because of you, and that's because of you, and that's because of you. Well, that's not going to work. I'm not going to have a peaceful day if all I'm doing is blaming everybody else that they too have these things going on, and it's irritating me because I'm so sensitive. Right? I can't be using that as some excuse. You have to be on your best behavior because here I come and I'm sensitive and you know that. That's not right. So I have to help myself so that I'm not over emotional, because I certainly can be. So every day I have to work, I have to have a practice to make sure that I'm in alignment. It's true. I don't like the feeling of being agitated. I don't like the feeling of all these, my emotions shifting and changing like a climate change storm. I mean, that's really how I can be. So I work every day on my breathing. Throughout the day, I keep coming back to my breathing. Nobody really notices it. Do you ever notice it? Mm-mm. Who would notice it? There's nothing to notice. I'm in myself, internalizing in here what's going on, and I'm helping myself just by breathing long and slow. I can do this anywhere. I'm using myself as I, but we can do this anywhere, anytime. But you need to know that we have resistance. There is this weird kind of resistance that we have to helping ourselves. I wish I could explain it to you logically, but there is no logic to it. When we have resistance to meditation, I do understand that it's unpleasant. I do. When you sit down to meditate and you're not used to it, you've never really thought about being a meditator, but you've heard that it's good for you. Your doctor says your heart will like it if you meditate a little bit. And so you're like, okay, let's do this. Come on. It's kind of out of my league, but let's try it. And you sit down and close your eyes. Where do you put your focus? What's got to happen here? And then when you start, after a while, you start to go, okay, I got this. Let me try this. You're like, okay. Still, it's going to be unpleasant. Now, I'm not being negative when I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that there's resistance because you are not used to being still. No. We are all used to being whirling people. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Yes, I'm excessively emotional and I have a big arc like this. And I know it, and I don't want to be a hurricane because no one's going to want to be around me, for one thing. So I had to find the eye of the hurricane within me. Because if I can live within the eye, then I can feel those emotions running through me. And I know it doesn't matter where they come from. If they come from inside of me or they come from outside of me, I know I'm in trouble. And I know I have to do something about it. So that's what I'm wanting to express to you, to help yourself throughout the day so that you're not waiting till the end of the day when you're just so overwhelmed by everything that happened. And you know it's retrograde right now. There's a whole bunch of little irritants that are out there, right? There's yesterday I had to do everything twice. Oh, well, what are you going to do? So at the end of the day, I could have been a wreck. Oh my God. Right? Or I could have been like, oh, geez, it was a day, but I'm okay. I'm all right. And I'm grateful that I got things done because it didn't look like I was going to get anything done. So you see, it's how you learn to perceive how you move through the day. Are you a victim of circumstances, or are you a person that can bear it out? So like I was saying, when you first learn how to meditate, it's unpleasant because it's like suddenly you realize there's a freeway running through your mind. But before you started to practice meditation, you didn't know that because your mind is just as loud as it is outside. So you didn't know that you could actually get really quiet. You didn't even know how loud your mind was. So it's really unpleasant. You know, for the first 100 times you sit, you're like, no, really? It's been a minute. So that, you don't want to just say, oh, well, I'm just one of those people who have a really fast mind, because then we start to associate that with being smart. My mind goes so fast because really I'm pretty intelligent. Really? No. An intuitive mind is not going to go fast because an intuitive mind needs space. An intuitive mind is not going to run a race. I'll get there before you will. Wait till I can solve this problem faster than you can. It won't compete. It won't race. It has space. And creating space is not the easiest thing because we haven't been taught. It's very easy to be ampy. Very easy. Doesn't take a whole lot of thought. Anybody can amp themselves up. It's easy to do because it starts to work on its own. But when you learn to create space inside of you by sitting still, when you're driving, teach yourself to sit perfectly still. Am I relaxed? Because you can like become aware that you're driving like this. Oh, okay. In that moment, have the power over yourself to calm down, to get the rigidity out of your body. In that moment, calm down so that wherever you go, you get there in better shape. So you're practicing that. You're practicing opening up so that you can create space so you're more intuitive. Everybody has an intuition. There isn't anybody who doesn't. It's just a matter of practicing being open. I know in the New Age, they say, oh, you're too open. You have to shut down. You have to block this and block that. No. You have to get strong. You have to get strong from the inside out. Know that you're perfectly capable of bearing out a disagreement. You're perfectly capable of bearing something that somebody else is carrying with them. The more you practice inner strength, the less likely you're going to be overtaken by other people's thoughts and feelings. I've been doing readings for 40 years, and I am not overtaken by all the people that I have sat with. For one reason only. I practiced. My job is to be open, and that can make me very vulnerable. And that's why most people that do what I do don't do it as long as I do, because most people don't have a practice. But when you practice being still, the things that you hear, the things that you deal with, move through me. It's like I see them, but they don't stay with me. They move on. So I can be out in the world and pick something up from somebody, but it moves through me. It doesn't stay with me. It doesn't go in and roost in me. So practicing staying open isn't going to harm you. It's because you're going to get stronger. As you practice to stay open, the only way you can even be open is you have to have a place inside of you that can will it to be so, because it's creating space. Because we live in states of agitation, so it's very difficult for the intuition to function properly because there's so much agitation going on inside. The more agitation that you have, the less intuitive you're going to be in that moment. So intuition requires self-development. You have to like help yourself to be quiet. And by doing that, you learn to feel things like a poet feels, like a painter feels. Really, it's a much more magical way to live. You feel more beauty. You feel more substance. It's true. When you live in a state of agitation, you begin to feel like life isn't worth living sometimes. It's just hard. It's awful. I feel bad. Everybody feels bad. This is awful. The world's a terrible place. But when you live in your intuition, yeah, you know the world's in trouble, but you're all right. You're all right. And wherever you go, you're practicing it so that you leave that I'm all right with them too. So intuition is practicing space, and that means getting rid of the agitation. You do that by centering yourself. You do that by consciously breathing long and slow. It isn't this big mysterious thing. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to learn how to do this. No, you can if you want. Really, because people say, well, it'll make me do it if I do it. Okay, do whatever it takes, save yourself. But I'm telling you, you don't have to. People think this is so easy that it doesn't work. Why do you have all of these opinions about things you have no experience about? If you don't have experience with what quiet can do for you, don't be judging it as something that's willy-nilly, because it's not. It's a very difficult thing to do, to be quiet inside of your mind. You must know that. This is why we don't like to meditate for the first 100 times, maybe even the first 10,000 times. But for me, when I want to teach somebody how to do meditation, I'm not going to tell you to sit for an hour, breathe, because you're just going to be chasing your mind around. It's not that good for you. Truly, you would be better off serving the homeless or the poor or people who have no volunteering at a food place. Seriously. Instead of chasing your mind around all day long, because as you're helping other people, it empties your mind because you know you're there to give. It's an interesting thing. When you give service to other people, it automatically opens your heart. You're automatically in empathy zone. And when you're in empathy zone, your intuition is awakened. So you can treat yourself by helping others in some way. To be able to meditate, it's very important that you learn how to get into that space so that you can receive meditation. So that's why, like I tell people, get a book, get a spiritual book, something that you really, really love, that inspires you. Ask for guidance in the morning, flip through it, open it up, find a passage, and utilize that passage as guidance for the day. You can take a picture of it if you're going to go someplace. Refer back to it through the day. So you're like, oh yeah, that's where I'm at. Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I'm practicing today. Let me come back to that. You could write out something for yourself today. You could write out, I am peace. Take a picture of it, put it down, and throughout the day, you look at it. You wrote it out. There's such big magic in writing because now it exists in an interesting way, not only out here in the air, but it exists on paper, on your phone. You see it, and as you see it, you project it out to other people. It's true. You see, magic, this concept of magic, is language. Language is very magical. We know this because if we talk really harsh to ourselves and we talk harsh to other people, we create bad things. That's magic. So if I speak really well, I speak good thoughts, good words, I put that out, and there can be very good results. If I write it on something and I look at it and I put it out there, then that means that moment is better than if I didn't do it. So we can all reverse all of the stuff that we think is so bad in the world by practicing sending out thoughts, writing them down, putting them out there. It's magic. It reflects. This is what magic really means. It's not about abracadabra. It's really rooted in language, written as well as spoken, you know? So like if I wear a shirt and it has a peace sign on it, I'm sending that peace sign out. If I wear a shirt, it has a, what is it, AR-15 on it, I'm sending that out wherever I go. It's reflecting, it's creating sound. It does, it creates sound. Every color produces a sound. Every sound produces a color. That's why we have auras. We give off heat. Heat has color in it, depending on the quality of the heat. Sound is sound waves. That's also in your aura. How you think creates the colors in your aura, creates the strength of it. When you have a strong aura, it's because you have a strong mind, and a strong mind is a peaceful mind. No matter how many degrees you have, that is a very intelligent mind, but it doesn't mean it's a strong mind. A strong mind can bear the negative thoughts of others around us without catching it. That's a strong mind. It's not an easy thing to do, and it takes constant practice. And it's good to have a little sense of humor about your own self, you know, about your own interesting idiosyncrasies, you know. Like I told you, I'm a very emotional person. You know, I just, I'm expressive that way. So I've had to learn to make it so that it's reasonable. Because I'm going to feel deeply no matter what. So what I've done is I've made it so that they don't rule me, but I feel just as deeply as before. So don't think that controlling your emotions makes them go away or makes them diminished. My emotions are as strong as they ever were. It's just like now they can work for me. They're not just agitating me. Now I can focus them where I want them to go. I would love to tell you 24/7 I can do that, but that would be a lie. No. And not all the time that I really want to do it either can I do it. But I can do it better than I have ever been able to before. I say it to you that way so that I'm trying to like kind of entice you into a practice, only because I know it's good for you. It is, it's good for me, so I know it's good for you. So kindness is what we've been working on. And kindness comes from like kin, K-I-N, which is fire. So our relatives, our kin, our kindred spirits is fire, because souls and spirits are fire. So fire is kind, it's kindness. And there's two fires that we use a lot: the fire of anger and the fire of kindness. Kindness is fire because it warms you. It's the part of fire that it's like, oh, I'm so cold. Oh, thank goodness there's a fire. Oh, that feels good. Warm heart. You see, fire, warmth. Kindness is a fire. It's warm. It warms you. Oh, what you said was so heartwarming. See? So kindness is a fire. Anger is a fire, but it's so harsh that it burns. It scorches. It takes things to ashes. So kindness is a fire because it's strength. It changes things, but it warms us. So it's good to practice kindness because you're practicing warmth. And where there's warmth, there's light. Because you can never have warmth without light. You can never have light without warmth. It always happens that way. So you make your auras bigger by practicing kindness. It makes your heart warmer. It makes you feel better about yourself. And wherever you go, people can receive you in a good way. Now, there's always going to be the exception to everything I say, because there's going to be people out there that really can't feel very well. They can't feel that you're a good person or a bad person. To them, everybody's just not good. And they treat everybody the same. You have to help yourself to not feel personal, take that personally, and want to reach out to them in this way. They won't even know what you're talking about. Best to send them some peace, send them some warmth, because they're too cold in there now to feel the warmth in other people. If you don't practice warmth within yourself, you can't feel it in other people. You're sure that they're all cold-hearted individuals because that's how you're living your life. So you don't want to do a disservice to yourself and live in that way. Practice. Do chanting, do some kind of affirmations, because the more that you practice doing something in your mind that has a very good repetition to it, you start to actually create an energy that eventually will go on its own. It can be so simple. It can be, I am at peace with myself. I am at peace with myself. I am at peace with myself. And if you're in the car, like I use that as an example because we're such car people, you know, we're always going places and things. But if you're in the car and you feel yourself really not being at peace and you really want it, struggle with yourself, win the battle. Damn it, I am at peace with myself. Yeah, right, I am. Struggle until you win. If you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't struggle with yourself, you won't win. Fight for your peace in this way. Tell yourself that you are peace, because it is inherent. It's just, it's all covered up by a whole bunch of muckety muck. So the more that you stay at it, and you have this intention to find that peace, that elusive peace that's in you. I am at peace. This little struggling process, it could make you cry. It could make you laugh. It could make you just go, okay, maybe that lady was right. Maybe there is peace that's always alive and well inside of me. Maybe I just have to become aware of it. You're not going to generate it. You're waking it up. You're not going to generate it. You're waking it up. It's already there, but you have to wake it up. Peace is not wimpy. I wouldn't talk about it so much if it was. It takes tremendous strength to be at peace. Here we are, 2023, and we have countries that are still at war. We know this doesn't work. We know this doesn't work. Nobody will win so big that it doesn't happen again. We know this doesn't work. And yet, here we are. So the only way to change is to change ourselves as individuals. And as other people are around you, they can say, wow, that person has changed. What's she doing? I want some of that. So I hope you continue to give service to everyone by practicing peace within yourself, kindness, right? So the word for the month of May that we're going to be focusing on is actually not a virtuous quality in and of itself, but it is the result of practicing virtuous qualities. And I think that the reason that I'm suggesting this one for this month is because I've been immersed in tarot. I've been immersed in tarot with the class that we've been doing. By the way, all of you that come, I absolutely have learned so much. Thank you so much. Really, every time it says, but I've been immersed in the death card. So transformation is our word for May. And the saboteur of transformation is stagnation. So with transformation, I just want to say, because it's not a virtue in of itself, but it is a combination of overcoming the self. So like what I talked with you today about kindness, as we practice kindness, it can transform us, right? So transformation is a series of changes that occurs inside of a human being that collectively is so profound that it makes it so you can't go back. You have to blossom. Okay, so so we're not doing questions today, right? Okay.
One or two.
Okay, so we're going to do 3 ohms, and then we can take maybe just a couple of questions, because then we have tarot. All right, so let's do 3 ohms together. Om. Om. So to those that are leading, thank you so much for being here. Peace be with you. Namaste. Questions?
Does this, not in kindness, but I just for timing, are we going to start it right away? Or I thought it was good. Is it it's at 11. When's it?
11:30 is tarot.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Is that what you were asking me, dear? I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't very clear.
No, you were great. Ruby got it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for your kindness and your service.
Good. Is there a question out there? No questions?
We got out of classes that way.
Well, okay. Oh, wait, there's one there.
When is the intuition class going to start?
Oh,
Not until later in the year, and we keep sending newsletters about it because we keep getting busy with tarot.
I know. Yeah, right now we're still doing tarot. Let's see, that's another 2 weeks. And then karma and reincarnation is the next one. And I'm sorry, off the top of my head, I don't know exactly when that is, but it's later June. It's the last part of June and into July. And then after that, then we do intuition starting either late August or into September. And I'm not sure how long we're going to do that one for. So it's still going on in my mind. But yeah, that one will probably be about 6 weeks. So it'll be late summer, early fall, right in there.
Hey, Jacqueline.
Yes, dear.
Hi, it's Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hey, I was able to jump onto the last bit, and I'm here with my son, which was so wonderful to listen to right before we go to our spiritual service. What would you recommend, like in teaching a child that's going through, so many difficult navigations socially, at the age in your early teens? He's 11. And so much of what you shared can be practiced at any age.
Right.
But what's something that you would recommend that comes to your mind when a child's at school and they're going through these navigations of children who are extremely unkind and, have cruel words? How do you protect yourself?
Okay, well, I mean, that's an age that we really don't have many filters in place. It's not because we're just like people start treating people in their tweens as if they're an adult, and we keep forgetting that no, he's 11, which means that yes, last year he was 10. There's no adulting happening there yet. So I say that so that first of all, everybody that's really, really young, we want to teach them to have compassion for themselves because they don't have it. Why would they? This is why they can be so cruel with one another. They're in pain. They're changing so much. So one of the things that I would recommend, let me see. One of the things I would recommend is to carry a stone. Just a little stone, carry a stone So it's in your pocket. But this stone, what you want to do with this stone is you want to be able to, I don't care if you're 11 or you're 68, it's kind of fun to like have a stone, and you can sit at home with your stone. And what you want to do is pray. And in this case, I think that this family likes to pray. And what I would do is I'd put this stone between my hands and I would pray and ask for this stone, that every time I touch it, that it helps me to remember my heart, that I am loved, that I am cared for, that I have peace within me. I am loved. I am cared for. I have peace within me. And I'd put it in my pocket and I would carry it with me. So every time that I touched it, it would help me to remember I am loved. I have peace within me. I am loved. I have peace within me. I got this. I got this. And to know I am strong. I am loved. I got this. I got this. That's one thing that I would suggest to do, because, oh, Jim has one and he's not 11. Jim's a big guy. But I would suggest that, because it's a tactile thing, and it's something that I always have something that's around me to remind me. So what you could do then, because the stones, what will happen is because we're asking it, what we're doing is it helps us to have remembrance, to have this remembrance that I am loved. And when people are spiritual and they have spirituality inside of them, you can actually also say, I am loved and I am loved by God. I am never alone.
Kelly said, the cruelty in the world comes right through them as they're still open. It finds its way into their sacred age and starts to infect us into adulthood, I think.
It does, which is why we need to have practices early on. So I'm really, really glad that we have somebody asking about what can an 11-year-old do. And always remember, if you're 11 or you're 111, one way to calm down is take your tongue, put it on the roof of your mouth, press gently up there, right behind your top teeth. Everybody do it. Close your mouths. Let me see you breathe. And it'll bring you right back to center, because you have to focus on it, because you're not breathing through your mouth. You're breathing through your nose. It takes effort. And that is very calming too. So you can be anywhere and do that. There's these little things that if you do them all the time, then you keep bringing yourself back to center, and it'll help your mind calm down too. Those are two things that you can do right away. Oh, and the other thing is make sure you wiggle your toes. If you wiggle your toes, then you're aware of your whole body, because when you're angry, you do not know anything where your body is. From here down, you have no awareness of your body. That's where our head juts out. We become like mad dogs. So when you wiggle your feet, it helps you to remember, okay, I'm in here. I live in here. I am safe. I am safe. I am loved. I am loved. I am loving. I am at peace. I am works. Everything that you say after you say I am, you identify with. I am mad as a hornet. Well, okay, there you go. Now you're a mad hornet. Every time we say I am, watch what you say afterwards. I'm so mad I could chew their head off. Whoa, I am that? That's not what you want to say. So you can always just counterbalance yourself, right?
Thank you. That was so beautiful. We actually collect crystals, and that's what my son loves to do. He loves to go to the stores that have crystals and collect the ones he's drawn to. So that was so perfect. We that's what he gives me for Mother's Day.
Oh, I love that. Oh, good. Yeah, because it really does work, and you have that. And you can pick out a special stone for each day of the week if you want. It doesn't have to be the same one. Or maybe he will just like to have one. We'll wait and see what he does. It's up to him, right?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Those are
thank you.
wonderful ideas. Always better when it comes from someone else.
Yeah, Mama, I got it.
Thank you so much. This is beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We have to go now. I have to have a little rest before the next class.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Jackie.
Namaste.
Bye,
Thank
love.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.